This is The Wheel Weaves, a Wheel of Time podcast with no spoilers. Welcome, listeners. This podcast is safe for first-time readers because it's made by a first-time reader. I'm your host, Dani, and I'm the one who's taken on the task of reading through this 15-book mega-series. I'm joined by my co-host, Brett, who's a longtime fan, and he's acting as my tour guide on this journey. Before we get into our episode today, we want to thank and welcome Chad Welsh to the Wheel Weaves Patreon team. We're super excited to have your support. So this episode, we're going to be talking about Chapter 30, Children of Shadow.
Yeah, very spooky title.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, shadows are spooky.
Shadows are spooky, and we've learned not to trust shadows.
Yeah.
In this book so far.
We haven't had good interactions with them.
No. And, you know, when I started reading this chapter, I was disappointed.
Oh, yeah?
For another Perrin chapter.
Okay.
But
this is a good one.
It's exciting. As far as Perrin chapters go, this is the best one yet, I think.
And I can pretty confidently say that I speak on behalf of all Wheel of Time readers. Everyone loves the Children of the Light.
No. No.
Oh, you got me. All right, you got me.
They're the worst.
Yeah, they're the worst.
Yeah.
So let's dive into my fun fact, and then we'll get on to the chapter, because this is a good one.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so this fun fact is a little bit of an excerpt from a conversation with RJ, and the question was posed to him, who is his favorite character?
Oh.
Yeah, and this is kind of an interesting question.
Yeah, because aren't there like 1,000 named characters?
Yeah, something around there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make you guess because it is kind of a non-answer, but I think it's a really brilliant answer for him as a writer. And his answer is, it's whoever I'm writing at the moment. And it makes a lot of sense because he goes on to say, most people like themselves, and if I don't like the character I'm writing, then it's going to come across to the reader that this character doesn't like himself or herself. And he goes on to say that his wife can tell who he'd been writing about that day when he comes in the evening based on like how he's acting.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
So like he'd have like the personality. If he's all sassy, it was probably like naive and
yeah, he takes on like the characteristics of that person he'd been writing about that day. Yeah, kind of cool.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, especially since we know some things about certain characters, so.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
No kidding. But yeah, that's definitely a non-answer. It's like the perfect answer without answering the question.
Oh, yeah, completely.
Okay, so let's get into Chapter 30. So right away in my notes, I wrote, children equals Whitecloaks.
Yes. Also the sunburst.
Yes, and then the picture was a sunburst also equals Whitecloaks. So, I guess we're going to have an encounter with Whitecloaks here. So we last left our heroes, Perrin, Egwene, and Elias. They had just outrun the crazy evil ravens that were like spying on them or looking for them.
Yeah.
And they got to a steding surrounding the statue of Arthur Hawkwing just in time. And in this place, the One Power cannot be felt, and the Dark One creatures don't really enter.
Yeah.
So that's where we are right now.
Bit of a safe haven.
Yeah. And so just like a note starting out here, Perrin had considered mercy killing Egwene if they were attacked by ravens, and he jumped the gun on that one a little.
Yeah, and then started feeling like super bad last chapter about that whole encounter.
Yeah, and he should.
Yeah.
That wasn't very good of him to think, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit of a crazy thought process to begin with, considering he was probably, like, super exhausted, really stressed out.
Yeah.
Like, the way I kind of considered those thoughts was just, like, him having intrusive thoughts.
Sure.
And that's something everybody has, and you always have those crazy thoughts that kind of pop into your mind. And it was all completely hypothetical, so...
Yeah.
I don't know why he feels as bad as he does about it.
Yeah, that's fair, too.
Yeah, like,
it's
nothing...
It's not like he was... getting his axe ready.
Yeah.
And, was about to chop her head off.
Yeah, took a swing at her or something. Like, it's all in his own mind.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so now it's the next day, around dusk, and Perrin is brooding about hating his axe and feeling ashamed of how much he, used to like it. So Elias comes up and asks Perrin why he hates Egwene so much. Like, he was willing to kill her, basically. And Perrin is shocked and asks Elias if he can read his mind too. Like, not just the wolves. Like, can you read my mind? And Elias cocks his head to one side. And that reminds me of a dog.
Yeah, when they're looking at
when
you.
the dog goes, treat, walk,
Yeah.
treat, and they go, huh?
Trying to figure out what you're...
Yeah, a little floppy cock to the head side, and I'm thinking of like a little puppy or something, but also wolf-like, I would assume, if wolves were trained and could cock their heads to ask a question. But, so that's Elias being once again wolf-like.
Yeah.
But he just says here that he could read it on his face.
Yeah, Perrin doesn't seem to be able to hide his emotions at all.
No, but I don't really know if I buy it 100%.
Okay, like maybe Elias can kind of tell like surface thoughts or something.
Yeah. And even if he's reading his mind through the wolves reading his mind.
Okay, like a second,
what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah, because the wolves can read Perrin's mind.
Second generation thought or something.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, I don't know. He's like asking some pretty suspicious and pointed questions for someone who can't read his mind.
Yeah.
Right? Like...
Well, Elias also seems to be like prodding Perrin, because when you get into the questions he's asking, he's saying like, do you despise her? Do you hate her that much? Right? Like, they're pretty aggressive sounding questions Elias is asking. And when you think back to Elias and the whole encounter of when he was trying to be gentled, he called the Aes Sedai like, you're Black Aja, like the worst thing you can possibly say. So he's going to be the kind of guy who pokes and prods you to get like buttons. To get a reaction. So that kind of sounds like what he's doing here too.
Yeah, well, and it works because Perrin gets defensive, saying that he loves Egwene like a sister and would never want to cause her harm. Plus, he doesn't think that he would actually have been able to do it. And he also doesn't really have the right to choose for her.
Yeah, we talked about that last chapter too.
Right? Yeah. And I agree with that. But he goes on to say how much he hates the axe and he wants to throw it into the pond.
Yeah.
And Elias has some wise words for him. So he says that you will use it. But he goes on to say, as long as you don't like using it, you'll use it more wisely. And if you ever don't hate it, that will be the time to throw it away.
Yeah, and that sounds like really good advice with any kind of weapon. Like, if you're getting satisfaction and enjoyment out of, killing, hurting, then that's the time you need to put it away.
Yes, exactly. And so Perrin goes to rebut, but then he gets a strong flash from the wolves, a really interesting way to communicate. It says, quote, ascending from the wolves so urgent that his eyes glazed over.
Yeah, so it's like a direct message.
Yeah, I was going to say, like a text to your brain.
Yeah, with like high importance.
Yeah, the little flag beside it.
Yeah.
But Elias gets the message too, and in an instant it's gone, and Elias is rushing up to Egwene, like whisper yelling to put the fire out. Instantly, I think that Moraine, Lan, and Nynaeve are nearby.
Okay.
And this is the flash they're getting.
This is like the, oh no,
and
look out.
This must be the message they sent, and I've been waiting for this, and obviously this has been on my brain, like a one-track mind.
Yeah, because we know Moraine and Lan and Nynaeve are heading for Perrin.
Yes.
But we have no idea what the time frame is or how far away they are or anything. So.
And then I put a little edit in my notes in this spot afterwards.
Totally not right at all.
Because I don't know why the Whitecloak stuff didn't come to me first. Like, I abruptly forgot about the chapter title and the picture.
Okay.
Like, within a page. And I'm just one-track mind about Moraine and Elias, like, encountering each other.
Yeah, that's really funny because I put in my notes saying, okay, see what Danny's initial thoughts were on, like, who this is going to be. And I thought you were going to get the Whitecloaks for
that
sure.
That was super obvious that it should have been Whitecloaks, should have come to my brain.
But yeah, I totally understand the whole wanting the run-in to happen.
Yeah, I really want it to happen.
Apparently not here. So,
no, definitely not. And now it seems, I don't know.
Not good?
No, it seems terrible. It's all terrible. Everything is terrible. But, okay. So, Perrin is rushing around now too, helping clear away signs that they were there, but it's all too rushed. And he hurriedly starts to saddle Bella. And Egwene is asking, like, what's going on? And she thinks it's the Trollocs or a Fade, because that's really all she knows.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad for Egwene, because this is, again, another point where she's left in the dark.
Completely. And everything's happening too fast to get an actual decent explanation to her. So yeah, no one answers Egwene. They're rushing around. Elias isn't even really making much sense. He yells at Perrin to go east or west.
Yeah.
He says that he'll meet up with them, and then he sort of says to himself, oh, they can't see a wolf.
Yeah, if they see a wolf, ... I was going to ask you, like, what happens if
and
they see a wolf?
And then he takes off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a difficult question for you to ask me now.
Yeah, so let's come back to that, because I wrote that again later.
Okay.
Let's circle back to it.
Okay. Because I know how they feel about wolves.
Yeah, we know after the fact, but one really important thing I want to point out here that you missed in the last paragraph, Elias goes on to say, there's no chance to hide that somebody's been here. Maybe we'll just have to hurry and hope. Maybe they won't bother. Blood and ashes, but I was sure it was the Ravens. So when Elias says, I was sure it was the Ravens, it kind of leaves the impression that Elias's gut feeling that he'd been going on and on and on about like staying with the Tinkers for so long, that the bad feeling didn't actually go away when they got to the steding.
Right.
It kind of leaves the impression that he was really sure and assumed that it was the Ravens that had been making him feel that way, and now maybe that feeling didn't leave, and now that these men are coming, that is the trigger that's making his gut feeling like, you know, come back or like get stronger, something like that.
Yeah, when he said, I was sure it was the Ravens, I thought maybe the wolves had been communicating with him. Like that whole, because it was the whole day, right? Because now they're at dusk and they haven't really done much, right? So I thought maybe the wolves had just been sort of scouting and just sort of saying, there's something in the air, we can hear something, we don't know what it is, it's far away still.
And he put it off because it was the Ravens.
And he thought it was just the Ravens.
Okay.
That's where my mind went.
Yeah.
So,
it's not very clear.
No,
and
it's not.
It's kind of like a weird misdirection almost, you know, because we don't get a definitive answer at all this chapter.
Yeah, that's why I sort of glazed over it, because I just thought, well, I don't know.
Okay, good. All right, let's keep going.
Yeah. So Egwene finally, like, demands to know what's happening, and, like, she's really scared, and Perrin's keeping silent, but they head off towards the setting sun, and Perrin tells her, and us, the reader, what's going on.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a, you know, here's the scoop.
Here's what's going on, everybody. So, as they run, she's on Bella, and he's sort of leading the way, and over his shoulder, he starts to tell her that there are a shit ton of men on horses coming this way. They are coming up on the pool, and it's probably just because it's the only water for miles, and probably not for them.
Yep.
Perrin tells Egwene that Dapple says, but then he hesitates and wonder what she'll be thinking of him talking to wolves. But
it's like, this is not the time to be self-conscious about this.
But he can't really see her expression. And so then he just goes on and says, Dapple says that they smell wrong, like the way a rabid dog smells wrong.
Yeah, and that's a really interesting way to put that.
Right. But again, I think it's like the whole, he's trying to put English words to wolf impressions.
Yes.
Right? So it sounds weird, but it's probably like all he can come up with.
Yeah, and the only kind of connecting dot there we have is that we know that steadings are supposed to be safe from shadow spawn, but it doesn't hold off the worst kind of people.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting. We got that foreshadow last chapter.
Yeah. That
it doesn't hold off men, even the bad ones.
Yeah. Like,
so it's like literally, oh, we should have expected that men / bad men were gonna be entering.
And it's totally not saying like these children of the light are like, you know, minions of the dark one, because it doesn't really.
No, that doesn't necessarily mean evil though.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
like
evil
it doesn't have to be dark friends.
Yeah, for them to be not good people.
Right.
Yeah, because we clearly kind of get a whole list of not good attributes.
Oh yeah.
So.
And fast.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Egwene is concerned because this place was supposed to be safe and she's clearly scared. So Perrin is taking on the leadership role like completely now, searching for a place to hide. And he ends up finding the remnants of Arthur Hawkwing's hand.
Yeah.
As like a flat stone jutting out from the ground, and they can hide behind it. So he goes to tell Egwene what he found and where they can hide, and by now the sun has set and it's really dark out.
Yeah.
So Egwene asks Perrin how he could see anything.
Yeah.
And he goes on to answer, but then he just stops and sort of looks around. And like, this is really interesting.
Did you figure that part out?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So even though the sun is down and the moon is hidden behind the clouds, he can still see, like, almost as if it's like purple of twilight.
Yeah.
And I just put in all caps, wolf vision.
Wolf vision kind of totally kicked in right here.
Wolf night vision.
Yes.
Which is cool.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
The funny part is that this actually started at the top of the page because it starts with him saying soon it would be too dark to travel. Mm-hmm. And right at that point is when we start getting things where Egwene and Bella are like having difficulty seeing. They're moving really, really slowly, like way slower than he thinks they should be.
Yeah.
So it's already happening, but he just doesn't recognize that he can see in the dark already.
Yeah.
And then by the end, Egwene's like, how are you even seeing anything? And he lies about it, saying...
Yeah, not well.
Yeah, not well.
He's a bad liar.
Yeah, but it's like right from the beginning, he's already getting that kicking in.
Yeah.
So,
cool.
Do you think that the wolf vision comes with the cool...
Acceptance?
Or the cool colored eyes?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I've been wondering about this eye change thing now for a little while, since we met and found out that he can talk to wolves.
And Elias has the yellow eyes, so...
Yeah, I was wondering sort of how that's going to work, if it's going to be like... I don't know. I'm envisioning like a Pokemon evolution.
Okay.
Or I'm also thinking of like Sailor Moon, when she transforms into Sailor Moon.
So he's gonna like jump up into the sky really high and like spin around and like...
And there's gonna... And all of the background fades, and it's all either like blue with stars and then like shooty pink lines from behind him. Either way, it's anime.
Okay.
That I'm picturing.
So Wheel of Time in an anime setting would be okay?
Yeah, and he's gonna like jump up and do a spin, and then he'll turn around and do a blink and hair swoosh, and his eyes will be different colors.
You know what? That would be actually a really cool thing for this series, because like every fight scene would be awesome. Yeah. Because it'd be like I don't even know how to describe this, but okay. Yeah. Like the slow motion where the lines are shooting past, but the character's still...
Like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or something, yeah.
Well, it's funny because the reason that a lot of anime is like that is because it's lower budget, so to save on production costs...
Things to go fast.
Yeah.
Lines.
Because you don't have to animate anything with fight scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
But, no, that's what I'm picturing with this, like, eye transformation. So I don't know how that's gonna come about.
Okay.
You know, if he's just gonna wake up one day and his eyes are a different color.
Yeah, but it's like quite suddenly we're kind of getting an imprint of he can see better in the dark.
But we also get, this strong vision. Yeah. Right? That Elias also gets. Yeah. And so I think we're moving more towards Perrin accepting. And we learned a little while ago that when Perrin fully accepts, like full heart, full mind, or whatever it was, then that's when, basically he becomes full, like, wolf brother.
He, like, levels up into the next...
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
With the whole evolution
thing. Of that.
Yeah. But...
And that's why Perrinite would make sense. Okay.
Ah, Perrinite.
Right. There we go. Link that back for you.
It's all linked.
Yeah, it makes sense.
See, I told you it was part of the pattern.
Yeah.
Okay, but anyways, I actually have another thing to talk about here.
Okay.
Because it says in the writing, the full moon is hidden behind the clouds.
Ooh.
So we get a measure of time.
We do.
So they definitely left Emond's Field during a full moon. And so now it's been an entire moon cycle. Yeah. So approximately 4 weeks. Yeah. A month since we left. And so I like that we just have that measure of time just so subtly.
Very subtle, yeah.
But I picked it up. Are you proud of me?
I'm pretty proud of you, yeah.
Did you pick that up?
I wasn't specifically looking at that yet. I was looking at the funny part with the Archer Hawkwing's hand that you'd mentioned. Yeah. Because they are sheltering in the Archer Hawkwing's hand, and Perrin thinks to himself, maybe some of his justice is left here. Yeah. Because we had just got a huge history dump last chapter about how Archer Hawkwing was really good to the common folk, But if you remember, Archer Hawkwing was not very nice to Aes Sedai.
No.
In fact, he hated them.
No.
And
almost
Egwene,
like a Whitecloak.
Almost like Egwene is on her way to become an Aes Sedai. So if they're looking for justice from Archer Hawkwing's hand...
Well, they're not going to find it.
Not going to find it, unfortunately.
No.
So...
Shoot.
Shoot.
Okay. So anyway, Perrin lies to Egwene about being able to see in the dark. And he says that he felt the rock.
Yeah.
But he's definitely a bad liar.
Yeah.
Because he feels her eyes on his back as they make their way over the rock to hide there. So as they start to hide, and Egwene is coming down off of Bella, the night breaks out into shouts, and we get some wolf mind reading from Perrin.
Yeah, very cool way to have this scene play out.
Well, yeah, and he also has to translate the wolf images to English.
Yeah.
For Egwene, because she wants to know too. And I want to know too.
Yes,
so,
as the reader, you want to know.
As the reader. So, here's what we get. So, the men saw wind, and they have torches. So, they are breaking up into search parties, and the wolves are all hurt. But Dapple and the others are trying to stay out of the way. Even if they're injured, they can't go as fast, but they're trying to sort of hunt and scare the men, almost like to go away.
Yeah, and we know that all the wolves got injured from the Raven attack earlier in the day.
Right.
So now they're just trying to like get these, and again, they have a bad feeling about these men.
Yeah.
Like they smell wrong, so...
Yeah, and turns out Elias didn't leave them while they were being hunted, but these men don't expect to see other people there. So hopefully they just search and then make camp for the night after giving up. And then we hear there are so many riders and they are so persistent, and the wolves don't understand why they're so persistent.
Yeah. Did you have any thoughts on that? Why they're being so persistent?
Well, they think that wolves are dark friends and they probably just want to kill them.
Yeah. That's the only logical thing that I could pick out here too. So
after reading this chapter, that's the only thing that really makes sense.
Yeah. That they think wolves are evil and must be hunted.
Yeah. Or maybe they caught sight of Elias with the wolves, because there is a whole conversation later about how the captain knows.
Okay, so let's come back to this when we get to that part.
Okay.
Yeah.
You see, you're asking your questions too soon.
Too soon, yeah. Just I was thinking in the moment, how did that make you feel?
Oh, yeah. It's hard at that point because I don't know. I wrote my feelings down and then I move on.
Probably because they're just a bunch of dicks, right?
Probably. Probably. So Egwene actually tries to comfort Perrin here and says, we'll be all right. And he finds that interesting. I think he's relieved that she still likes him and she still thinks of him as Perrin. And
not like a big scary monster. But you said last chapter, Egwene of everybody should understand where he's coming from with this whole new power.
Oh, yeah. And she'd probably think it's really cool.
Yeah, I know, because it is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, we do get from almost the very beginning of this story, of this book, that all of these characters, all of these boys, feel as though they're always going to be mocked by their friends.
Yeah.
Every single one of them.
It's the reluctance.
Feels like they're going to be laughed at for something they've done or something they said or something that's happening to them. They don't really trust themselves. And it's this whole sort of peer mentality.
Yeah.
That if I'm different or if I say something wrong, I'll get laughed at or I won't be understood.
Yeah. And it's funny because that's a very, very human emotion.
Yes.
Every single kid ever doesn't want to, rise above or do something extraordinary or different because they're afraid of what their peers are going to think. Or even
remotely different,
yeah.
right? Even when it comes to dressing a certain way or how they feel about themselves in a certain way. And it's man, be yourself. People are going to be cool with it.
Yeah, for the most part,
end, right? But there's a heartbreaking scene here because Egwene asks Perrin if he will dance with her on Sunday if they are home. Yeah. And he says he will, I promise. And this is just so heartbreaking because this is how people talk when they know they're goners.
Yeah, this is she thinking she's about to die? But I have a very important question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think this is more or less heartbreaking than when Tom has his spiel to the boys about his nephew Owen? Because I said that was the saddest chapter.
Yeah, And
you were just like stone cold about it.
If there's a chapter to cry at, it's this one.
Oh my god, I can't believe
this one is got me way more emotional.
Really?
Than that one did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think because we see the death here, that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just not buying that Tom's dead, so like stop pushing that on me.
Not even the fact that he's dead, it's just the whole Owen thing about Tom feeling like the boys are literally not a replacement, but are in place of his nephew.
I think that I didn't find it very emotional because I felt like it was an explanation of his actions and like what he's been doing. Yeah. And so it's sort of like a moment instead of a aw moment.
Okay. Well, I have to
this
disagree.
Is more of an awe to me.
Okay.
This just reminds me of like Rose and Jack in the water.
Oh man, that was a terrible scene. No. She's the worst.
Yeah. But it's sort of like, don't worry, we'll get married and live forever, you know, when someone's about to die.
Yeah.
It's like, because I don't think Egwene actually wants to dance with Perrin and like marry him.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like
it is kind of like the spiel before you're gone. Yeah. So, okay.
So back to this chapter and this episode.
Yeah.
Because I've had enough out of you.
And we have no time to get into the Titanic.
No, none, actually. And so they crouch there for a while, just sort of waiting. And Perrin can see things through multiple vantage points, and he can see that Hopper, Wind, and Dapple are running about in the dark, trying to scare the men back to the safety of their fires. So it doesn't even sound like these wolves are being aggressive, killing men on purpose, if they don't have to.
But they are definitely killing men and horses.
Oh, for sure.
They're taking some down.
Yeah,
so.
Probably because they're being hunted.
Yeah.
Right? But now it sort of sounds like they're just, like, men are comfortable by their fires. If we can just get them to retreat, we don't have to kill anyone.
Not as many as they could have.
No, I don't think that they're, like, trying to kill them.
Yeah.
Right?
It feels like they're trying to save...
They're being defensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, lead away from Perrin and Egwene, so...
Yeah. And so he sees that Elias is with them, and he has his knife, and so they call him the two-legged wolf with one sharp steel tooth.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
He's just like another wolf brother.
Yes.
I like that. At this point, Perrin notices that the group of men are following a pattern of where they are searching. And he knows that they will be coming up on them really soon. Yeah. Like, it just all of a sudden registers to Perrin, like, oh shit, I can tell they're going to be here. But soon becomes now, because all of a sudden, there's a group of men with torches and lance heads coming around the side of the hill where they're hiding.
Yeah. So they were going pretty, like...
zigzaggy.
Yeah, or like in a formula of how they were searching, but all of a sudden... running's not an option anymore, so...
By the light of the torch, Perrin can see the Whitecloaks of the Children of the Light. And Perrin thinks about how, if they run now, they will be chased down and have no choice but to reveal themselves and hopefully talk their way out of this one.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not the worst case situation for them to be in, and I say that only for the fact that with Whitecloaks, at least they seem to have an ability to negotiate. And if it's just Trollocs, then...
oh, yeah, dead.
Yeah, no negotiation, right?
No. So, well, unless Narg shows up. Narg has excellent negotiating skills.
Except Narg's dead?
Well, that's because he only has mediocre negotiation skills. But as far as Trollocs are concerned...
Yeah.
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 He almost was good at negotiating.
He was very close.
Almost.
So here's a big question for you. So... with this group of Children of the Light, the last time we met Children of the Light was in Baerlon.
Yes.
And we do know that there was a large group outside of the town.
Yeah, lots of them.
Yeah, and they were only allowed a few in the city at one time, so we only got to experience and see a few of them, but we know there was a large group outside. So do you think that this is the same group of Whitecloaks?
See, you can't ask me that after I already know the answer.
Do you know the answer to it?
Yes.
How?
Because we get a name.
We get a name?
Yeah, I have a question about that afterwards.
Okay, there we go.
Okay. Okay, so my answer is yes.
Okay, you think it's the same group?
Yes,
okay.
I do.
Okay.
But See, you're just jumping so ahead this whole time.
Oh, only like a few pages. It's only because it's good.
Yeah, I know. You just like are eager for me to answer your questions, but I have questions for you later.
Okay.
See, I'm holding off.
Okay.
So a voice loudly tells them to surrender, and they won't be killed if they walk in the light. But don't surrender, and you will be killed.
Yeah.
So Perrin can feel that the wolves and Elias are still running free, hunting the men. So he decides to stand up and walk towards them, and Egwene sort of follows reluctantly, like she wanted to try to run, I think. But
yeah,
that
wouldn't do so well.
No, that'd be bad.
Yeah.
Especially because we know how many men are actually out there.
Oh,
they
yeah.
have horses and, like, you guys...
You're not getting away.
No.
Running is not an option.
No. So Perrin thinks about how the Whitecloaks are so persistent, and he wants to know why they hate wolves. Plus, he can also smell that they smell wrong. Like, Perrin feels as though he can almost smell it too.
Yeah, and the way he phrases it, he thinks that he can smell... It's almost like he's doubting that he can smell something wrong.
Yeah, it's almost like he's thinking about them telling him they smell wrong.
But I think that he can actually smell...
so too.
Yeah, something
for
wrong.
Sure.
So.
I think so too.
And that's kind of the whole question that keeps recurring is like, what is that wrong feeling?
Yeah.
So.
Well, is it just that they're a bunch of dicks?
Yeah, that's the question, right? What is it that smells off?
Right. So the White Cloak yells at Perrin to drop the axe, but Perrin yells, no! But he's not yelling it at the White Cloak because in that instant, Hopper busts out of the night, and Perrin and Hopper are like one fighting here. Then we get a little bit of Hopper background because he is the cub who wanted to fly with the eagles and would jump and jump until he could jump the highest out of any wolf and gain the name Hopper.
And you know what's funny about this chapter is that in a span of like 4 paragraphs, we take Hopper, who was almost an unknown wolf to us.
Well, no, he grinned at Perrin.
We literally got the fact that
sentence.
he grinned. We got a sentence, and now in the span of a paragraph about Hopper growing up as a cub, wanting to soar with the eagles.
We also got that he's like the protector
of Dapple.
He would have like destroyed anyone who attacked Dapple.
Yeah, but I mean, we didn't get that's very limited information.
Okay,
but you can like fall in love with this wolf now, and then be like
so. To cry.
Yeah, after he dies in a couple paragraphs from now.
Yeah.
But it's like so fast that the writing is so powerful that you can love this wolf right now from this.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So we also know, on that heartbreaking note, that he never lost the yearning to soar through the sky. So, as Hopper jumps, his jaws close on a man's throat who has a lance pointed at Perrin. And Perrin feels the throat crushing and tastes the blood. So Hopper lands and separates from the man that he just killed, just long enough to look at Perrin, and I'm going to say think.
Yeah.
Run, brother. So, I think that this is clarification.
Yep.
That there has been an acceptance.
At least on one side of it.
What do you mean?
Like the wolves accept Perrin as his brother. As their brother.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think it would have you would have risked his life for him.
Yeah.
If Perrin was still trying to shut them out.
Yeah, and we definitely have seen a little bit of an increase in Perrin's abilities.
Yeah, especially now with the night vision and things like that, right?
And he can taste the blood, he feels the crushing of the throat, all these little things seem to be stronger than they were a couple chapters ago.
Right, for sure. Yeah, and that sort of started, I think, with the whole raven stuff, because he could he could taste the blood of the raven and stuff too.
And that's also when we heard that Hopper had his eye pierced by a raven,
right?
Which is why he is missing an eye here.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Hopper turns to jump at another man, and the sharp steel of a lance drives through him. And Perrin is too stunned to move or do anything, and then he's filled with pain, and he screams a wordless wolf-like scream, and starts swinging his axe like a feather in his hand, and it's described as his one steel wolf's tooth.
Yeah.
So that similarity and direct comparison to Elias.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so something crashed into his head, and he doesn't know if he dies or Hopper dies.
And he's knocked out.
And he's knocked right out.
Yeah.
Or he's dead. One or the other.
Yeah.
It's Hopper.
It's Hopper.
Yeah.
Hopper died. Perrin didn't.
But, oh man, I just wrote, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I need a minute. Like, after reading this, I needed, like, a minute, like, to put my book down and just be like, holy shit. Like, I really liked Hopper. And I always knew that Hopper and Perrin had a connection.
You did, but you had no idea what that connection was.
Because of the dumb internet.
Yeah.
And so I thought he was going to become, like, his trusty, like, sidekick.
And all of a sudden, Hopper's dead.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that, and I was not expecting to feel so emotional about it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, Wolf Brother. Like, it's...
Yeah, and the fact that, like, Hopper, like, literally gives his life for Perrin, says, run, brother. Oh, it's just like...
And then Perrin doesn't run.
He doesn't.
He can't, because he's, like, one with the wolf, and it's, like, this whole thing.
Yeah. But, I mean, really speaks to the writing that this quickly, like, we love Hopper.
Oh, yeah.
And he's gone.
Soaring like the eagles.
Well, and again, especially how that drawback to Hopper as a cub, you can just envision this tiny little wolf pup just, like, so jumping cute. And hopping around and try to jump.
It reminds me of that, do you remember that movie we watched? Alpha?
Yeah.
With the, like, man who first, like, domesticated a wolf, basically.
Yeah. And how they, like, became...
Yeah, they became, like, sort of attached...
Like friends.
Together, like friends, and... Yeah, and then there were all these pups, and...
Yeah, I do. They're very cute. Yeah.
So cute. Anyways, okay.
Yeah.
That's our moment for Hopper.
Yeah.
Because now we're going to move on to some intense shit.
Yes.
But I need more wine to deal with this crap.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Hold on. Okay. Time lapse. And we're back. And
you had some recovery time there?
Yeah, a little bit. Except we just kept talking about how sad Hopper's death was and how we kept on picturing little cub jumping, trying to soar with eagles, and Hopper's last thought was to soar. That was so cute.
Heartbreaking. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, blank sort of space. Then Perrin wakes up, mumbling about soaring like the eagles.
Yeah, so we can kind of assume he was thinking about Hopper.
Yes. So he opens his eyes and his head hurts, but he can't remember why. He squints against the lights, and Egwene is kneeling beside him in a large tent. So she says, "Oh, thank the light, I thought they killed you."
Yeah, so she's just been here beside an unconscious Perrin who...
For who knows how long.
Yeah. Who got, like, wonked on the head really hard.
Oh, yeah. And I think she says his name here. She says, "Oh, Perrin," right?
Yeah, she does.
Okay. So Egwene and Perrin have been taken and are tied up in front of an older man who is looking at them thoughtfully and curiously.
Yeah.
So Perrin notes that the contents of his pockets have been emptied onto a table, and he sees that Moraine's GPS coin is there as well, so that sucks.
Yeah, really bad to have an Aes Sedai mark in front of people who really don't like Aes Sedai.
Right, and who can recognize Aes Sedai marks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, like, really bad.
Yeah, so now all of the boys have lost their coins.
Yes.
Damen, I don't think, is aware that those coins are Tarvalin coins.
Or he doesn't care as much.
Right. Or he didn't notice, or he just didn't make a deal of it.
But it's like the Children of the Light's entire mission is to hunt out Dark Friends, and they clearly think Aes Sedai are also Dark Friends.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So
Tarvalin witches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think Damen just, like, he probably... I mean, he seems pretty well-traveled, and he's a trader.
Yeah.
So, like, he should know, but he probably just doesn't care.
Right, okay.
That's what my thought process would be.
Okay. Anyway, so all the boys have lost their coins and don't know where to find them. And that's the start of the new nursery rhyme.
And also, that's bad news for Moraine and Lan and Nynaeve, because that's how she was going to find them.
I know, but she was still able to track Rand and Matt as long as they're alive. Sort of.
Sort of.
Like
yeah, a little bit.
Like, she went to the inn. She had the sense.
As long as she was, like, close enough, she was saying.
Right. And so she already had the direction.
Yeah.
Right? So if the Whitecloaks camp isn't too far off from where they were.
Yep.
And I mean...
Cross your fingers.
Now here's the question. What's worse for an Aes Sedai? A Whitecloak camp or a steding?
Oh, how about both together?
Well, you think their camp is in the steding.
Well, we know the Whitecloaks are camping in the steding.
Oh, I didn't know if they got taken out of the steding or whatever, but it makes sense that they would camp in the
They're
steding.
camping by the pool of water in the steding.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So the one place where I said I can't really channel that much or at all.
At all. She can't even feel that the one power exists.
Yeah.
Shit.
Okay.
Poor Moraine. Oh, man. She's having just a hell of a time, hey?
Yeah.
But Perrin sees the ropes that are tied to Egwene's wrists and ankles and is shocked at the amount of rope that the Whitecloaks have used.
Yeah.
Like, they're both tied up with enough ropes to tie up horses. And, like, really tight.
I mean, that's not a bad idea if you're having prisoners, though. Like,
No.
in reality, like, tie them up real good.
So they can't escape.
Yeah, how many terrible TV shows and movies are there where it's like the villain or the good guy isn't tied up very well at all?
Yeah.
And they just escape.
And everyone escapes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, but yeah, this is so tight, it's making ridges in Egwene's flesh. And Perrin thinks, what do they think we are? And I just write, dark friends.
Dark friends, yeah.
They think you're bad guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But another man enters the tent and stands up straight and addresses the old man as my lord captain.
Yeah.
And I write, oh geez, this is Bornhold, I bet. And I said, I guess there could be different captains to different, like, White Cloak groups.
Like, yeah, factions or groups or what
Right.
contingents.
And
yeah,
then,
but Lord Captain for sure sounds like a title.
yeah,
And to be fair, the
previous
encounter with Whitecloaks and Barrelon, they just called him Lord Bornhold.
Oh.
They didn't call him Lord Captain.
Okay, because I went on this whole thing about how I don't think he recognizes them from the gates.
Yep.
Or I hope that he doesn't.
Okay.
If it is the same guy.
Yeah.
Right? Because, I mean...
Yeah, no, they already ran into a Bornhold.
Yeah,
so.
and a Lord Bornhold. So
a Lord Bornhold.
That's, like, naturally where my mind goes anyway.
Yeah.
For now, in this part of the chapter.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you will. Stop asking me questions for later. But the captain calls this man Child Buyer.
Yeah, Bayar.
And he wants to know their costs for this encounter. So just an interesting way to put things. So, Child Bayar.
Yep.
Okay.
You're right.
I just can't with these names. And I want to make sure I get the pronunciation right, but I am notoriously terrible with pronunciations.
It also doesn't really matter that much because I'm probably getting some pronunciations wrong too.
Yeah.
But from what I know, it's Bayar.
So Child Bayar says that 9 men are dead, 23 injured, 7 seriously. And 30 horses had to be put down. They were hamstrung.
Yeah.
And so I looked up...
More horse facts?
Yeah, horse facts.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what that means. Does it mean that
okay.
their, like, hamstrings were cut?
Yeah,
so they can't run?
It's basically the wolves were biting their legs so that once a horse's leg is lame, then the horse is lame.
Yeah.
So you put down a lame horse.
Yeah. Well, I didn't need you to explain it to me.
Because you looked up horse facts, yeah.
And you know what? This is actually a really biblical term. It's not even really a term that's used.
Really?
Yeah, so I thought this was a fact that you'd one day find out and share in a bonus episode.
Okay.
For your, like, real-life comparison.
No, I never thought about that at all.
Okay, so I'll...
Hamstringing is a really common ability in a lot of video games. With, like, thief characters and rogue-type characters. Okay. Because you literally, like, cut their leg out.
Yeah, if you Google... I was concerned Googling... hamstrung horses because I didn't know what images were gonna come up and I was scared, but yeah, nothing too terrible.
Okay.
And so many websites referencing the Bible.
Okay.
Because in the Bible, the Israelites hamstrung a bunch of horses. There's a whole thing, and there's a bunch of Bible references.
Well, that makes a lot of sense because if you think about how much effort it takes to kill a horse, like it's, and again, this is a really weird conversation, but it's a lot more effort to actually kill a horse than it is to go and cut out their back leg.
Yeah.
Because if you make that proper slice deep enough.
Yeah, but the first mentions of hamstrung horses, like as that being like the verb.
Yeah.
Right? To to hamstring a horse,
Yeah.
basically, is biblical.
Okay.
So, that's a fact I have for you. So, also, a lot of these horses were scattered in the chaos, and it will take a couple of days to gather them all back up.
Yeah.
But the captain says that they do not have days. They must be in Camelin in time.
So we have things to unpack here.
In time for what?
Yes, okay. So,
Can
in time
I
for
tell
what?
you what I think?
Yeah, you tell me what you think.
Okay, so I think they need to be in Camelin to see Logain, the false dragon.
That's a good assumption because the only context we have for Camelin so far about an event happening is Logain being brought there by the Aes Sedai in a cage.
And I said, what the heck are the Whitecloaks going to do? Kill the Aes Sedai and take him for themselves?
That's a good question.
Is that what they're going to try to do?
I'm not going to answer that.
Shoot.
But it's also an interesting note because when the Lord Captain addresses the man as child Bayar, I just thought it was an interesting play on word because we already have a reference to child.
Right.
Being like the prefix.
Young Aes Sedai.
Yeah, so that's what Moraine called naive, and we kind of got that assumption where it's like maybe someone who's like untrained in the power is referred to as child.
Yeah.
Because you're still a child. But it also kind of goes back to religion because the Whitecloaks kind of have that religious connotation where it's like children of God.
Yeah.
Right? So children of the light kind of makes sense.
Well, yeah, all of the children of the light, I assume, would have a name child.
Yeah.
Because they're the children, right?
Yeah.
But
it's just funny that Aes Sedai and the Whitecloaks use the same name.
Yeah, that's funny. So the captain also says, what do you have to show for it besides these two younglings?
And this is where we're just going to end the episode because I don't want to read this next sentence.
Stupid dicks.
Ugh, terrible.
So Bayar says that he skinned the wolf they killed, and its hide will make for a fine rug.
Yeah.
No.
Oh my god.
Not Hopper.
Yeah, Hopper.
God.
Hopper's a rug.
Although people taxidermy their pets. Is it like the same thing?
Well, I don't know. If Zazu's lying here, would you want to...
I personally no. But
as
I
a
also
taxidermied Zazu or a rug?
Oh no, oh my god, Brett.
Oh my god.
Okay, no, personally no, because we don't have dead animals around our house.
Yes.
Some people do enjoy dead animal decorations in their home.
Taxidermy freaks me out.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I'm not okay with it.
It's not for me.
Not for any moral reason, just because it's like...
No, it's so creepy. I told you recently about the childhood friend I had whose dad was a hunter.
Yeah.
And when we went for sleepovers at her house, we slept in the basement. And there was a bear on the wall.
Yeah.
And deer heads and a buck and geese flying out of the wall.
Yeah.
And it was terrifying. And I never wanted to sleep there. I always had such troubles because it was awful. It was terrifying.
No, it's yeah.
But to be fair, there are people who do taxidermy their pets.
That's true.
And or have animal parts in their house. Anyway, so maybe it's like if we could get our hands on that wolfskin rug, it could be like a Hopper tribute.
Okay.
Rather than like a let's step on him type of situation.
Okay.
I'm going to turn it around.
Into a positive thing where it's like maybe he'll make a really good coat.
Oh.
See, it just sounds bad.
I can't.
Yeah.
Okay. So Perrin also hates this and growls and struggles against his bonds. And the ropes dig into his wrists and actually like make him bleed.
Yeah, so this is kind of like an animalistic reaction to that Perrin's having.
Yeah, almost like that he can't control. So at this, Bayar is glaring at Perrin as if they were enemies already, and Perrin glares back and thinks about how he wants to rip out the man's throat with his teeth.
Yeah.
Like pull a Rick Grimes.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then Perrin realizes what he's thinking.
Yeah.
And is like,
what
the fuck
himself.
is wrong with me? And I just want to be like, Perrin, I'd rip out that guy's throat with my teeth.
Sometimes it's deserved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for this guy, for sure.
He's just having that really strong connection to that's what the wolves did, so.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm a man, not a wolf, but he still continues to glare at Bayar. So the captain says that he doesn't care about wolf rugs, sort of in a funny accent. I don't know. I read it French.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why?
You were reporting on what we retrieved this night, no?
Okay. I can get on board with that.
Yeah, like a Fleur de la Cour type.
Is that a Harry Potter reference?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Do we have to take a shot now?
Yeah, I think that's what that means.
Shoot.
That was like super impromptu also.
It was really, but that's what I'm thinking. Because
you could have gone with like Les Miserables.
Yeah, except I don't read
like
Les
Jean
Miserables.
Valjean.
Yeah, except I don't read that, and he doesn't actually talk with a French accent. He's Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, it's true.
But
in every version, it's always Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, or it should be. J.K. Rowling writes in accents.
Okay.
Like, instead of saying, like, you were reporting, she would write the W as a V. So,
okay.
And same with Hagrid, who has, like, I don't know the parts of England where the different accents come from.
Yeah.
But the, oi there, Harry! Like, she writes that in.
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't say Harry, it would say apostrophe A-R-R-Y.
Okay.
And that's written into the writing, so you read the accent. But here, just with the no at the end.
It like, doesn't seem like it's written in,
you were reporting on what we achieved this night, no? Like, I just picture it so funny, and I can't help it.
Yeah, that's okay.
But, alright, I'll go get us a shot.
Yeah.
We need it tonight anyway.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, time lapse. I'm back.
And we're back.
With our shots.
With shot glasses?
Yeah, and I intentionally picked out some shot glasses from our collection to fit with our conversation.
Oh, okay.
So here's yours.
So be... Okay.
Do you want to guess? Or do you just want to see it?
I think it'll take too long for me to think and guess.
Okay, so here you go.
Ah, Paris.
Yeah, and
okay.
look at mine.
Montreal.
Yeah. Well, French, no.
Very French.
I think we've already used Montreal once, but...
I don't think we... Did we?
I find it fitting.
It is. With the whole French thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Cheers.
Not... Oh, there it is. I was going to say not that bad. Okay, let me pull my notes back up. All right, so you were reporting on what we had achieved this night, no?
Yes.
I hope nobody comes at me about my terrible French accent.
We would like to apologize in advance for the French accents.
So, Buyer says that there were probably about 50 wolves and they killed 20 or 30. And at first I was like, holy shit, there were a lot of wolves out there. Like, because we never really actually hear how many are in this pack.
Yeah, we didn't get a definite number.
So at first, I'm like...
Oh my god, there's so many wolves.
Wow, that's a lot! And then he says that there were at least a dozen men and they disposed of 4 or 5... but it is unlikely they will find any bodies, given the Dark Friends' propensity for carrying away their dead to hide their losses.
And this is such a powerful paragraph for the reason that it's
this
like...
This guy's a fucking liar?
Such a bullshitter. He's not a liar. He's a bullshitter. There's a difference between people who lie and people who bullshit.
This is like what we were talking about last time, the difference between... taking and stealing.
It's semantics, but the reason I say it is that people who are bullshitters, he's bullshitting for the reason of like boosting puffing his chest a little bit, right? It's like he's a little bit delusional.
A little
and
bit.
It's whether or not he believes it. That's the real question.
Well, he also says that it was a coordinated ambush against them.
Yeah. So it's like, is it delusion or is he puffing his chest to make it sound like they're just incompetent? Like, he's not going to say there's 6 wolves or 8 wolves and maybe 1 person.
Yeah.
Even if he thinks it, because that makes him look incompetent for losing.
Especially because they had so many
casualties. Yeah.
And so many horses they had to put down. And
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it's delusion. I don't think he believes this, which is why I said liar.
Yeah.
Because he's straight up lying so that he looks better, but that's also bullshitting. So
yeah, similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Perrin thinks about Elias here, where he's like, "Oh shit, other people are dead." Like, he must know that this guy's lying, But then this makes him think about Elias and the wolves almost for the first time since he's been knocked out.
Yeah.
Right?
I also, just a side note, I really like that Bayer covers his own tracks by saying, oh, they pulled their dead away during the night to hide their...
Well, that's the bullshitter part.
That's the bullshit
part.
But
it also might be what the Whitecloaks believe.
Because if you have, like, the top-line commander or someone up there saying this to everybody under him...
Oh, yeah. Like, we got so many of them.
Yeah.
But... Right?
All the bodies got dragged off during the night.
Which is interesting because we heard from Lan that the Trollocs don't often clear away their dead.
Yes.
It's like quite the opposite.
And it's like literally they do that when they're hungry to eat their dead.
Yeah. But the Whitecloaks, it's clearly this deluded religion.
Yeah.
And I know you are hesitant to use that.
Yeah.
But it for sure is very religious sounding. And it's their way of life. It's what they believe in wholeheartedly, and the evil side is truly evil to the point that they don't want everybody to know that they're evil.
Yeah.
Right? They hide their losses so people don't think they've lost as bad.
Yeah. It just really speaks to the Whitecloaks as a faction too. So
for sure.
Just to like see what's going to come in the future.
Right. But so when Perrin thinks about Elias here, he cautiously reaches out to search for them.
Yeah.
But he has no sign of Elias or the wolves.
Yeah, and that's a good or a bad thing.
So he thinks either they're dead or they've abandoned you.
Yeah.
So both of those are bad.
Well, just like, in my thought, far enough away that he can't feel them.
Yeah, or the wolves and Elias are cautiously aware of Perrin's situation.
Yeah.
And have cut him off.
Yeah.
For Perrin's safety.
Yeah, that's
very
true
what I'm
too.
Hoping, anyway.
Yeah. That would be like a smart thing
or
to
unless
do.
they're really mad at Perrin for Hopper's death.
Yeah, I don't think so.
They like blame him.
It doesn't seem like there's a lot of lying between wolves of what happens because they can all see it happening.
Yeah, I know, but they could be mad at Perrin and cut him out. They're mad at him that Hopper died saving Perrin. They're mad about that, maybe.
Okay.
No, I don't
No,
think
that doesn't sound right.
Okay, but the captain actually laughs here and basically calls this guy a huge liar.
Oh, calls him out on his bullshit so fast.
I just love it.
Yeah.
So Bayer then says, but my Lord Captain Bornhald.
Yes.
And I go, oh shit.
Yeah.
It's Bornhald. And I see you looking at me, and I know I have the question at the end, and you're answering it through your eyes. But
it's the question everybody has to ask when you read it.
In the moment, I'm like, oh shit, it's Bornhald. He must not recognize them.
Yeah.
Or he does recognize, and whatever. But Bornhald says that there were probably 6 to 8 wolves and no other humans than these two. Yeah. And he says that Bayer has no experience outside the city, and it's different out here.
Yeah,
so,
it just calls him on his bullshit and is like, nope, this was way fewer people.
Yeah. He says that also these two were probably the only ones there by happenstance, as it's the only water around for days. And he also says that the simple explanation is typically the truest.
And this is the best part about this side of this Bornhald character.
Yeah.
Because we might not like him because he's a Whitecloak, but he's not a fool. Mm-hmm. Like this Lord Captain clearly knows what's up. He's smart. And that's like the worst kind of villain because you have to respect the intelligence.
Sure.
In my mind.
Yep.
Like it's the villains that are like stupid.
Well, it's almost like the same as Moraine could be seen as a villain. Like we don't know her true intentions. Yeah, we don't. Right? But so smart.
It's also the argument that villains don't typically see themselves as the villain.
Yeah, that's fair. So here's another thing. I know we're going on a million tangents, but I want to point out in this series so far, we're 30 chapters in, and what really spoke to me in this chapter was that the adults in this world, like older people, have a lot to them. They have a lot of experience for the most part. Most of the adults we've encountered, like older people, have seen the world. A lot of the world. Because it's not that big.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I would also say the point that you have a good point because you don't get to be an old person if you're not wise and intelligent and able to figure out what's what.
And it's almost like the more people we encounter, like you keep on saying things like, there's more to Tam than we originally think. There's more to Tom. There's more to Moraine. There's more to Elias, right? Every single person we meet,
there's a whole backstory.
They share these parts of them. Even Damin, right? We get these parts of him, but then it's like they've lived an entire life potentially all over this country.
Yeah.
They've seen and done and heard, like even Rain with the Tinkers, who have seen and heard and done so much more than our main cast of like 20-year-olds could even imagine seeing.
And that's a great point, because that speaks to RJ as a writer, because there probably is a book's worth of notes on every like legitimately,
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah, a book worth of notes on what happens to these characters before they even meet up in this series.
Yeah.
Like without actually knowing the honest truth of it, I would assume that Robert Jordan has pages of notes on each character of what happened before.
Yeah. So that there's potentially could be like a prelude to every single
There could be a prologue to every character's life.
Yeah. But I think that's interesting just because we mostly have the perspective of green, young, nobodies who know nothing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And
that's like saying it nicely.
The world is just like broadening before our eyes.
Yes.
And I just love it.
Very cool.
It is.
Especially for the fact that we have this Lord Captain scolding Child Buyer about how like foolish he is.
About how he doesn't have experience. And he says, you will learn with experience.
Yeah.
And I just wrote a note on the side here. This does not seem like the Bornhold we met before.
It doesn't. The Bornhold we saw before was like an over-aggressive, like condescending tool.
Asshole.
Yeah, absolutely. And this guy seems like an older, wiser, like more put together man.
Then I just thought maybe in the situation with Rand in his face, like maybe he
like
got
laughing at him in the street,
and he didn't like that because of people watching. Maybe I just thought maybe personality-wise he didn't like that.
Yeah.
At this point, anyway. So Perrin thinks about how this buyer guy hates them even more now for hearing that he was scolded, and he wonders why he hates them in the first place.
Yeah.
And I just said maybe he hates everyone. Isn't that the point of being a white cloak?
Yeah, he hates dark friends, which they think they are.
Well, they think everyone is.
Yeah, that's not a white cloak.
Everyone who is not a white cloak is a dark friend.
That sounds like
sparrows.
Or the Sith, you know. If you're not with me, you're against me.
Yeah, only a Sith deals in absolutes.
Yeah.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
But I was actually thinking of the sparrows.
Yeah.
They're that's very similar to the Game of Thrones sparrows. But, so Bornhold asks Buyer what he thinks of Perrin's axe. And he hands it to him, and he sort of looks at it, and he says it's an excellent piece of weaponry made by a master, and it is not a villager or farmer's weapon.
Yeah.
Which is true. It was not made for a villager or a farmer.
It wasn't.
And it was made by a master.
It was.
So?
Who was?
Master Luhan.
Master Luhan, yeah.
Oh, you're quizzing me on things that don't need to be quizzed. That's easy.
I'm just testing your knowledge base.
Yeah, no, I got lots. We could go to any trivia night.
It's the
first 30 chapters.
It's a good point to note that Master Luhan is legitimately like a master.
Yeah.
A master blacksmith. And Perrin was trained by a master blacksmith.
Sure. He even noted when he was in the tent, I skipped over it because I was like, this is a lot of detail.
He's like eyeing the geometrical patterns
of the furniture in the tent that only a master would notice.
Yes.
Or somebody trained by a master would notice. So, yeah, Perrin's good. So at this point, Bornhold introduces himself as Jeffram Bornhold.
Yeah.
And he wants to know who they are. So he already heard Egwene call Perrin by his name.
And we also don't know how long Perrin was unconscious for.
True. So Egwene gives up her name without issue. So Bornhold says that if they were dark friends, they would wish to keep their identities hidden, and Perrin protests angrily, saying they are not dark friends.
Yeah, that's what a dark friend would say.
I knew it. I knew you were dark friends. So Bayar, who is still holding the axe, moves so quickly and smokes Perrin in the head with the shaft, and Egwene yells out, so he tries to hit her too, but she throws herself aside, like, just in time. Like, a blow to, like, Perrin's head, and he said he would have, like, cracked his skull.
Oh, yeah.
And then, like, he was trying to do the same to Egwene. Like,
this is kind of one of those situations where it's like, it gets real fast, where they need to realize where they actually are, that death is a serious possibility if they're not careful.
Yes. So Bornhald is playing good cop a little bit and tells him to go easy. And so they don't know much about the Children of the Light, and he tells Perrin and Egwene not to let their anger get the best of them, because that won't help anyone.
Yes.
And reasonable.
And we also get a little insight into the Whitecloaks, because Bornhald introduces himself.
The anointed one.
Yeah, the anointed ones, but also he says you don't know much about the Lord's Captain of the Children of the Light, implying there's multiple Lord Captains of the Children of the Light.
Yeah.
So he's one of them.
Okay, yeah, and that's what I was thinking too, but then we also got the Bornhald name, so I went, aha, but yeah. I guess we'll see. So he continues to say that he's heard of men running with wolves and even talking with them and other creatures of the Dark One. A filthy business. And it makes him fear the last battle is coming soon.
Yeah.
So not the first time we've heard this.
Yeah, we've gotten the implication of the end of days or the end of times.
Yeah.
And the final battle coming.
Yeah.
So
several times, actually.
Yeah.
So Perrin doesn't know how to keep his mouth shut here and starts to protest about the wolves not being creatures of the Dark One. He says wolves hate Trollocs and Fades, and Bornhald wants to know who told him that.
This part is so frustrating because it's like, hey guys.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, stop talking about things that you know the Children of the Light don't like.
Yeah.
Like, you know they don't like Aes Sedai and Warders. Like, you know that. This isn't...
And Trollocs and Fades.
Yeah. So stop giving it all up.
Just be like, yeah, I know. Wolves, those filthy, dark creatures.
Like, be a little bit agreeable.
We hate them, too.
Yeah.
Like, don't give everything the fuck away.
It's like, do you want to be right or do you want to live?
Yeah. And so, Egwene busts in with a warder told us.
Yeah, no big deal.
And I went, geez, guys. Maybe she learned, though, that, like, they're shit at lying and it gets them into more trouble.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. But realistically, at this point, they didn't even have to lie about anything. They could have just not said words.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But Bornhald calls warders the creatures of the Tar Valon witches.
Yeah.
And says, basically, don't trust them because they're dark friends and they serve dark friends too. Plus, Trollocs have muzzles and teeth and wolves' fur.
Just like, yeah.
Just like wolves. So Trollocs
like
are wolves and wolves are Trollocs. Same.
Same.
No, idiot. But anyways, Perrin has a bit of a concussion and his head really hurts. Probably from the first time he was knocked out. And
never mind this second time.
And then, being cracked in the head with an axe handle. But he thinks about something, but he thinks that something is not right here. And he can't get his thoughts straight enough to puzzle it all out. So Egwene says, well, not all of them. Some of them have beaks and horns and all sorts of things. And Bornhald just shakes his head sadly and says, like, I gave you every chance. You clearly run with wolves. You're acquainted with a warder. You carry a Tar Valon mark in your pocket. So, side note, he knows about Tar Valon marks.
Oh, yeah, 100%. It's just like they're literally digging themselves into a deeper and deeper hole here.
You carry a fighting man's weapon, plus you know Trollocs and Fades. Perhaps you have been to the Borderlands.
Yeah.
And then I say, okay, this doesn't look good. So then he asks them to tell them how they came to be with running with the wolves tonight.
Yeah, so with this whole Whitecloak situation, it's kind of like they're guilty until they're proven guilty. So everything they do is just going to dig them deeper and deeper.
I know.
So I think that you're right in the fact that they should just, like, stay as silent as possible. Like, not refusing to answer
with,
questions,
like, nods.
but be agreeable. Like, stop arguing about the fact that wolves aren't evil. Like, that's not going to help your case.
No.
Go with it for now.
Yeah.
and then you can escape.
Right. Made me so angry.
Yeah.
But now we have a story to talk about, so...
Yeah.
Because if they were just agreeable, it wouldn't be interesting. So Perrin can tell that Egwene is actually going to start telling one of their stories, and he knows that this won't work. Like, if she just starts lying about coming from, like, up north...
Yeah, so they had that story that they tried to go along with Elias, but then the wolves called them out on that bullshit.
Yeah.
So...
But he knows it's not going to go over well here, but his brain is all scrambled and he can't think things through. But he speaks before she can, and he just says, "We're from the Two Rivers." And Egwene just sort of stares at him like she's mad that he told the truth here.
Yeah.
But it's like, Egwene, you're already in this problem because you spoke up about warders and knowing about Trollocs.
Yeah. So you got to kind of come up with something here.
Yeah. So Perrin continues with a version of the story that's actually very similar to Tom's story.
It is. It's close.
Yeah. So the story is they set out to see Caemlyn and heard of the ruins of a great city, and it turns out to be Shadar Logoth, and that's where the Trollocs were. But they escaped across the Arenal, and they were lost, and they fell in with a man who could guide them to Caemlyn, and they never got his name, and the first time they saw wolves was when the children showed up tonight.
Yeah, so pretty simple and efficient.
And they were just trying to hide. And I said, not a bad story, but it doesn't explain everything, unfortunately.
Because they went off into way too much detail.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep it vague, guys. Come on.
Vague. Anyways, there was no warder in that story, which is what Bornhold wants to know. And so Egwene says that the warder they came across was in Baerlon at the inn. And this will do. And I said, okay, so for now, especially because Bornhold saw that there were Aes Sedai with a warder leaving Baerlon.
Yes.
In theory.
In
this chapter with my brain right now, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, I said, so that's good.
And also, if we think that this is the same group of Whitecloaks that were at Baerlon, then at least we know that that story would have gotten back to the group, the big group.
Oh, for sure. That there was an Aes Sedai. There
So.
were miners, all that stuff.
And to be fair, there were rumors before they got there that there was Aes Sedai in town.
True, because there actually had been before, like that's where they stayed on their way down to the Two Rivers.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so this story I guess will do for now. And he tells Bayer to give them their stuff back. Except for the weapons, of course. Like, he's not getting his axe back. Unless he steals it somehow.
Yeah.
I think. But I think the coin, too.
Ooh, good question.
Like, is he actually... Like, he's going to give them their stuff back. Like, there was the belt knife and that kind of thing. But he knows there's a Tar Valon mark.
Yeah.
Like, is he really going to give that coin back? And then that also asks the question... If they lose the coin
and then
get it back, does the GPS still work?
That's a good question. We don't know.
So, I don't know. It's not clarified this chapter what they actually get back and if Perrin gets his coin
So,
back.
the big point I would make about that whole context is that in this conversation about giving them their stuff back, Bornhold goes on to say, like, hey... It's not a very good thing to be a Whitecloak and steal from people. So if they can give their belongings back to the prisoners, it's not a bad thing. And in reality, in this day and age, in this book, there's not really anything anyone would have which could cause issues. You know what I mean?
Except for weapons.
It's not like nowadays if you get all your stuff taken away, it's not like I have a cell phone and
I can sell it
or whatever.
I can take your credit card
like
and
they're
steal
still
your identity.
Yeah, they're still in chains or bondage or whatever it is to make sure that they're not gonna escape. Like they still have their stuff, so there's nothing that they could actually do. So even if they do give them back those coins, it's not a thing.
Right, except
they're still
for that,
prisoners.
The only thing I would say is he could probably, if he had other coins, he might get it back.
Yeah.
But just the Tar Valon mark might make them hesitant to give it back to him.
Maybe.
Just because it has the Tar Valon thing on it, and they don't like that.
And who knows what they actually know of Aes Sedai, like, magic.
Right.
Like, who knows?
But it sounded like he understood what an Aes Sedai mark was.
It does.
He said, you must have come into contact with an Aes Sedai, you must be serving one, or something like that. And that's exactly what that mark was for.
Yeah.
That's literally what Moraine said was, here, now we're bonded, take this coin in case I ever need anything from you.
Yeah. So it's really just a question of, does Bornhald fear the Aes Sedai, or does he, like, look forward to a fight with Aes Sedai?
Yeah, I guess
if he thinks that they're going to come and meet up with him or something.
Right. Okay. So, Egwene asks if he's letting them go. Like, do we get to go now?
Yeah,
and he says, no, of course not, idiot. So, they may be telling the truth about the two rivers and Baerlon, but here's the thing about the story.
Wasn't that good?
You mentioned Shadar Logoth. And that is questionable because not many people know that name.
Yeah.
And everyone basically who knows that name is a dark friend.
Or is smart enough to stay away from it.
Right.
Like, if you know that much about the history of the place, like, you don't go there.
Right. Because even if, let's say, they're two idiots wandering around to go look at an ancient city's ruin.
Yeah.
At what point do you hear the name Shadar Logoth from... Like, if you know it's Shadar Logoth, you don't go looking for it. They said in the story, it was an ancient ruin of a great city.
Yeah.
Right? So, if you were looking, you probably only know that it as Eredal.
Or nothing.
Yeah. And...
Probably in that case, like, leave the names out of it.
Exactly. But that was the concussion.
Yeah.
His brain's all scrambled.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, tough situation.
Anyway, so now they have to think of a better story on the journey to Amador.
Yes.
Is that how you say that?
Yeah, and we've already gotten a little bit of a reference to Amador because that is the stronghold for the Children of the Light.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. And so he says that you will have time because we must stop in Caemlyn. But then he says, your story, preferably the truth. Because there is freedom in truth and the light.
Yeah.
So, I went to the map.
Yes.
Because I hadn't looked it up before.
Okay. So,
I went to the close-up map with Caemlyn, thinking it was going to be further east.
Okay.
Because, I mean, so let's say this is the same group that was in Baerlon.
Yeah.
And then they're moving sort of this way down the Caemlyn Road. They're moving east. They're going to Caemlyn. I would assume they're continuing to go east. That's just what my brain thought. And then it wasn't there. So I had to go to the big map.
Okay.
And I was looking all over. It took me a while to find Amador because it is like, what? Southwest of like Gildan.
Yeah.
It is so far out of the way of Caemlyn, it's not even funny.
Okay, but let me point out a few things. So we had previous mention of Amador. When we got that first introduction to Tyr, they hate the power more than Amador does. Because Tyr has that whole prophecy about the dragon having to take the Stone of Tyr, and the Amador is the stronghold of where the Children of Light reside.
Sure, whatever.
But if you look at the natural contours of the land, we know that Emond's Field is like directly north of Amador.
Yeah.
But we know that there's a bunch of stuff in between there. So the only way to get to Amador is to go basically to Caemlyn and then go south along the road and then hook back west.
It just seemed like my brain was like, what the heck is going on here?
So from where they are right now, which is like right here between Whitebridge and Four Kings and Caemlyn, somewhere in that line, they would literally, the best way if they're going to take roads would probably go to Caemlyn anyways, and then hook down to Lugard, and then go to Amador. So, like, just based on the rivers and
that does make sense.
Yeah, we know that Logain was in Gildan and then got captured around Lugard.
Yeah.
So it's like he was moving east.
Yeah.
So.
We know that, but anyway, so Bayar hates this so much that he actually yells at his captain.
Which is crazy.
And he says, there's no way, it's not allowed. And then he says, oh shit, sorry man, I know you're the captain and everything, but forgive me and shit, but we're already behind.
So far behind.
In getting to Camelin that most of our horses are gone. We can't take prisoners.
This is pretty crazy because, like, Bornhald is the reasonable one here.
Yeah.
Bayar is the crazy one.
Yeah. So Bornhald asks him what he would suggest, and he straight up says, kill him.
Yeah.
And
like, nothing even about it, just...
No,
oh,
dead.
yeah, they're dark friends.
The penalty for dark friends is death. There is no truce with the shadow. There is no mercy for dark friends.
Yes.
But Bornhald says that he is too overzealous, but I like that he says zeal is appreciated.
Yes, to be applauded. And we get a whole lot of really important stuff here, too.
Yes, because turns out he is too overzealous, like his son Dane.
And
which
we
I
met.
Also accidentally
Yes.
read as Danny.
Oh, yeah, that's not your name.
No,
Nope.
no. It's
No.
not. Oh, there's a character named Danny? Nope, there isn't. It's Dane, and it can be a grievous fault. And I just went, oh, shit, there's two Bornhalds? Could that explain the difference in attitude? Would his son also be Captain 2? I don't know. What was he called back in Bearlawn? And my brain did this thing where it spiraled out of control.
Yeah.
And...
So let's connect the dots here real quick. So just so we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
This older version of Bornhald, Jeffrem Bornhald, is the Lord Captain of the Whitecloaks, or at least of this division. And he is the reasonable, intelligent, elder captain. And then we have Jeffrem's son, Dane, who is the overzealous asshole who gets really, really mad when Matt splashes him with mud and then Rand laughs at him.
Right.
Yeah, and
I
then
totally
gets like
get it.
And then gets shut down at the gates of Bearlawn by Moraine being a badass.
Yeah.
So he's all being, some kind of way, and then we have Jeffrem, who's like a lot more intelligent than his son Dane.
Yeah.
So Dane's clearly the kind of guy who has some issues to work through.
Okay, so you've definitely
Yes.
100% clarified everything, because I went through that entire chapter completely 100% believing this was the same guy that Rand encountered.
So different guy.
Good.
Different guy.
Makes way more sense.
But
now.
Not good, because we also now know that Dane Bornhald ran into Matt and Rand being a dick to him.
Well, no, he ran into Rand. I don't know if he ever saw Matt.
He didn't see Matt. So he ran to Rand, and then he saw Rand at the gates with an Aes Sedai and a bunch of other people.
Yeah.
And now we have his daddy meeting Perrin and Egwene from the Two Rivers.
What a small world.
Yeah, who also know an Aes Sedai and a warder. So it's like now everybody's in some weird way linked together.
Ugh. To the Whitecloaks.
To the Whitecloaks by Dane and Jeffrem.
Yeah.
So, the Bornhalds, am I right?
Worst.
Okay.
So bad.
Ugh.
So, they apparently must repent their sins and tell them everything they know. Then maybe they can walk in the light and be free. Well, except Perrin.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair, this is an interesting phrase from the Whitecloaks.
Yeah.
That no man is so lost that he cannot be brought back to the light.
Yeah.
Like, it is an interesting concept that they hold.
And it seems like maybe originally that was the idea.
Yeah.
And then it's just gotten so far carried.
Yes, from the original intention
like
of the Whitecloaks.
Like a buyer guy who just sees someone who doesn't 100% believe what he believes, and he kills them.
Yeah.
Right?
Which is what I kind of talked about when we first got introduced to the Whitecloaks, is that they're a faction of people who are overzealous about what they do. But their initial intention is not a bad intention.
Right.
Like, if their initial mindset is to root out evil, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Okay, but back to Perrin not getting to be so free.
Yes, he doesn't get the dismissal.
No, because he killed 2 Whitecloaks.
Yeah, so before and that's huge, because before he blacked out from getting conked on the head, he killed...
Well, we knew he was swinging his axe around.
Like a feather.
Yeah.
So he killed 2 Whitecloaks.
2 people, 2 humans.
2, more than that, 2 like warriors.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's crazy. This is the first we hear of anyone from Emmonsfield killing people. Is it?
First blood. Yeah, it is.
Like, and it's Perrin.
Rand's killed some Trollocs.
It's the Perrin of the group. Who's
Rand
killing
and
people.
Rand and Matt have both killed Trollocs, but that's it, not people.
Yeah.
Because they haven't run into other people yet.
Well, they have, but they haven't had the urge to kill them.
They haven't had a reason to.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cool. I never thought. If you had asked me from the beginning, like, I had the question of who's going to have sex first.
Yeah.
And then now I have the question, if you had asked me who's going to kill someone first.
You wouldn't have said Perrin?
Never.
Who would you have said?
Probably Rand. Because at the time, he would have been our main character.
That's true. Yeah.
And in the mindset of Rand only for the first, I don't even know, 20-something chapters.
Yeah.
Right? But he is clearly our main character, and I probably would have said Rand.
Yeah, that's fair.
But Perrin, huh?
Perrin,
okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, so he killed him, and he is going to face a gibbet at Amador.
Yes.
So, whatever the heck that means.
Do you want to know what the gibbet is?
Is it just like a trial that's not really a trial where they're just going to kill you anyway?
So it's not a trial, it's an execution.
Oh.
Yeah, so the gibbet or the gallows is just a word for the public execution. And there's a few different definitions about this.
If you had said gallows, I know what that is.
Yeah, that's where like you go to be hanged. But there's a bit of a difference between all of them, but there's a lot of similarities where everyone uses it for the same thing. So like the typical gibbet would mean the hanging, right, at the gallows, the guillotine, or, which is my
guillotine,
personal...
if we're being French.
We're not being French.
I'm being French.
My personal favorite, locking the body in a cage for people to view.
After death?
Or before.
Oh.
Yeah, you lock the person in the cage that hangs until they die.
That reminds me of when we went and saw the Tower of London.
Yeah, and you get to see all those torture devices that they have in the dungeon.
Yeah.
Which are like how people used to...
Actually torture people?
Actually torture and kill people.
Yeah.
But the gibbet refers to the wooden structure from which the cage hangs. So the gibbet is the wooden thing.
Oh.
Yeah. That's why it can be like guillotine or the hanging or the cage.
So, torture device.
Torture, yeah. Perrin is sentenced to death.
And so casual about that.
Oh, yeah. Super casual because he killed 2 people.
I assumed a gibbet would be like the trial or something.
There's no trial.
There's no trial.
The trial is the fact that he killed 2 people, so he's guilty. And that's why I said previously, with the Whitecloaks, it's guilty until proven guilty. Because we also get the fact
guilty
that...
Guilty until proven innocent?
No, guilty until proven guilty.
They, like, look for you to be guilty?
Yeah, well, they literally mentioned that the questioners, which we've heard reference to before, that I think it was from Tom, who talks about the questioners are going to come at you with their pincers and their, irons.
Hot irons,
yeah. The questioners are going to torture you. So that's why Bornhold says, you better come clean and be true, because the questioners are like the sun.
And they'll basically get the answers out of you.
Yeah, they'll get the answers they want out of you one way or another. So that's why he said that buyer is a candle to the questioner's sun.
Right.
So the questioners are way more severe.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's the end of this chapter.
Yeah, which was pretty intense.
And I want to know if Perrin is going to get his axe back. But he probably has to escape first.
So it's like one thing at a time. What's more important?
I also want to know if he gets the coin back and what that means.
Yep. And we also have to talk about what this whole Children of Shadow means. Because we got the introduction in the chapter title. And we had the whole thing about the wolves smelling something wrong with the Whitecloaks.
Oh. See, I guess at the end of this, I had assumed that the Children of Shadow would have been Egwene and Perrin.
That they are children of the shadow? To
the Whitecloaks, that's how they appear. Like, if they're the children of the light, then these dark friends who are younglings are children of shadow.
It's a very good interpretation.
And we either have to bring them to the light or kill them.
Okay.
That was my original interpretation. But after you saying the thing about the wolves smelling them weird.
Because that's a thing that got drilled into us a few times where the wolves feel it and then Perrin also smells something wrong.
Well, I mean, it's no secret that their views are skewed, right?
Yeah, they're extreme.
They call themselves children of the light, but they're worse than almost anyone we've met. They're the worst humans we've met.
So we got two really kind of important pieces of information in the last few chapters where Jeffrem Bornhall talks about his son Dane being overzealous. So you could interpret the fact that the wolves smell something wrong about these children, where it's like some of these children are zealots or fanatics. Yeah. They're just way too,
overzealous
or too fanatical about their duties. Yeah. Where that can cause problems.
Yeah. Okay.
And we also know that when we got that introduction to Mordeth, he corrupted the souls of the people in Eridol where they were committing atrocities under the name of the light.
Right.
So we got that fun little tidbit of information. So it's like if you do terrible things under a good word, that's still really bad.
Yeah, that's bad. But this whole situation, it sucks. And I say here, so here's my prediction time.
Okay.
Hopefully Moraine can come in and blow them up with fire or drown them in a whirlpool. But that's the question. The problem is I didn't realize their camp was in the steding.
That's what it seems like. It seems like they're still right in the middle of it.
But if they start moving and head to Camelin,
yes,
they can be ambushed on the road.
On the way, okay.
And I also said maybe Egwene will get some of that unintentional life-saving magic soon.
Okay.
That would be handy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
Like a boom swinging across and killing all the Whitecloaks.
Yeah. But again, she's in the steding right now.
No, but once they go.
Once they're on the road.
Yeah, because I don't think they're escaping in the steding. I think that, because he said we don't have days.
Yeah, they're leaving in the morning.
They're not sticking around.
Yeah.
So they're going to bring them with them, and I think they're going to have to escape on the road.
Yeah, because they're kind of they're at Arthur Hawklund's statue.
What if, Matt and Rand are on the same road?
They're pretty close.
Because they're going to go, because they're probably going to head to the Camelin Road. I can't imagine why Whitecloaks, I get why they went off the road to camp in the steding.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
It's the only water source for a mile around.
Right, and also the steding doesn't have magic and dark friends and whatever.
Yeah.
So I get that, but I can't see them traveling through country.
Yeah, so logically the Whitecloaks will head down to the road and then head east to Camelin.
Right.
And we know that Moraine, Lan, and Nynaeve are heading towards the direction of Perrin, and we know that Rand and Matt left Whitebridge on the road.
Ugh. It's they're all so close but so far.
Yes.
Oh, so terrible.
Yes.
But I think we need to end this here.
Okay.
So that does it for this episode of The Wheel Weaves, and this is definitely part of the pattern.
Yes, that's part of the pattern now.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Wheel Weaves. If you're interested in bonus content, cool stickers, shoutouts, access to exclusive insider looks, and to support us making great content, you can head over to patreon.com/The Wheel Weaves podcast. You can find us on social media where we love interacting with our listeners. We're on Twitter at The Wheel Weaves Podcast and on Instagram at The Wheel Weaves Podcast. You can also join the conversation on our Discord channel. There is a channel for no spoilers that I have access to, and we also have a spoilers channel that Brett controls, so fun for everybody. There will be a link on Twitter and also over on our Patreon page. You can check that out. Please feel free to rate, comment, and subscribe. This really does make a huge difference. Plus, if you want to tell a friend about us, maybe someone who is just getting into the book series for the first time, or other longtime fans who you think would enjoy us, word of mouth is the best way for us to reach new listeners, and we would take it as a really huge compliment. Thanks, as always, to Audionautics.com for the music, and thanks to you awesome listeners.